it depend on?
Oh, sorry?
What does it depend on?
Oh, nothing at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Usually a minute of your time if you're busy,
Okay.
if you're not.
What is it?
What it is, we're just doing some outreach work, telling people about Islam.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have any prior
Concerns?
knowledge or concerns or anything about Islam or Muslims or.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have many concerns, and I'm being completely honest. But I don't know what having a chat with you today is going to do about that.
I'm Baz, by the way.
You're Baz.
Baz.
Baz,
Yeah.
Baz.
And you are.
I'm Daniel.
Dan, really nice to meet you.
And you, my friend.
What are you studying, Daniel?
I'm doing economics, third year.
Oh, really nice.
So-
How are you finding it? All right.
Pretty difficult, but it's alright. I knew what I was getting into when I decided to do it. So.
Almost at the end of the
Yeah.
light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's it.
So tell me more about these concerns you have.
Well, concerns. Okay. Well, we've had 5 terror attacks in 1 year. Given that we haven't had that many terrorist attacks in the last 20 years previous, probably quite worrying, isn't it? Because there's a big correlation between mass immigration from certain Middle Eastern countries and terrorist attacks. And the fact is, a lot of people outside of the big cities who are British and who cling to their British identity see people from the Islamic communities not integrating, not making an effort to integrate because they hold their Muslim identity, their Islamic identity ahead of everything else, which to people in Britain is just a bit dumbfounding. And the problem isn't necessarily Islam. There's a large portion of within our own society who've completely lost their way. But politically correct type of people who are actually making it worse for the Islamic community to integrate, because they've sort of said, oh well, anything goes, but then nobody's put the incentives or the constraints on the Islamic community to integrate. So it's a double-edged sword, really. But I personally think the way in which it's going at the moment isn't healthy, especially in places like Bradford and Leeds and Rotherham. I despair really about it all. I don't know what it must be like as somebody who's part of the Islamic community.
So firstly, Daniel, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to mention those things. And then secondly, I think you articulated, just literally articulated it so beautifully. I mean, I would struggle to someone just off the cuff kind of thing to articulate something like that.
It's on lots of people's minds. We are all thinking about it. We are reading books about Islam and about how you guys are integrating. We are. People like me are doing that because we are worried about our future. I'm worried about my future here. What's going to happen?
Are you originally from Cardiff?
I'm initially from South Africa. My parents are South African.
Okay.
But I moved here when I was 3 months old. So I understand how difficult it must be to integrate into certain communities. But it comes from the communities themselves wanting to integrate.
So sorry, forgive me for cutting
right.
you. So basically, brother Daniel, like say for example, I was born and bred here, but just say for example, I'm from Saudi Arabia, and then I have satellite TV in my house, and then all I watch of America is, have you heard of this show called Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
So all I watch is.
But that's a mass generalisation, isn't it?
No, but let me make my point. If you forgive me, I'll be really quick. So all I watch is Jerry Springer day in day out because it's obviously quite entertaining. And then my conception of American society is totally skewed because that's all I'm exposed to on TV. It's not reflective. It's not representative of the diverse American society.
Sure.
And I think this is the issue, brother Daniel, as well. When you look at, for example, a lot of the media representation of Islam as well is not representative because Muslims are approximately 2 billion people in the world. And
very diverse community.
They're a very diverse community. This is the thing. My grandfather, he was in the British Army and he fought in Egypt against the Germans, and then they sent him to Malaya to fight against the Japanese. And then he settled down here in 1972. And I was born in 77, so I'm 40 now.
Can I just point out, things like that, I see some guy walking down the street in the road now, and I'm thinking, and I'm being honest and open with you because I want to be.
Of course, please,
because I'm now thinking, well, why is he dressed like that? Well, because that all that says to me is that he values his religious identity, and it's the same with women walking down the high street in burqas and niqabs and the rest of it. When I see somebody walking down the high street just like that, what it says to me is they don't want to integrate. Their point of difference, what they are trying to do is say my Muslim identity becomes before everything else. And in Britain, especially with free speech and the right to criticise religions that we've had the right to do since the 1600s, we're now having to refight that war that we did 500 years ago now. And that's what's worrying me, because it's people like Theo van Gogh. Do you know Theo van Gogh? The filmmaker in the Netherlands who was slaughtered and assassinated. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, Douglas Murray and other people who are actually Enlightenment thinkers. They are now being sort of threatened with death because they've criticised religion. And people like Charlie Hebdo in Paris and all the rest of it. This is what's worrying us. It's not people like you who are sat here trying to integrate and trying to find out what I'm thinking. It's the other people that don't. I can understand you. You're obviously sat here offering up chocolate, saying I love Jesus and all the rest of it. You're integrating. You are British. You, my friend, are probably more British than I am. But it's the people who aren't like you. It's the people like him. I'm generalising here, but people like him and the people who wear burqas and niqabs and walk down our high streets. And all it says to me is, if they dress like that, they don't drink, they think our culture and all the rest of it's horrible and disgusting and that we're debaucherous and decadent, which on some issues I can actually agree with, but then what do they think of the rest of us? What do they think of my sister who goes out and wears a miniskirt on a night out? What do they think of her? Because all that says to me is they think that she's decadent and that she should go to hell. And quite frankly, my friend, if that's what they think, then I'm all for war. Because this is, at the bottom line, that's where it comes down to. These people have come here.
Forgive me for interrupting you. I know you. I think you brought up some really, really interesting. There's so many points. Can I try and address a few of them?
No, of course.
Thank you so much. So it might take me some time because you brought up some really, really interesting.
Can I just ask, are you recording me?
I'm just generally recording everything around me for my own, for everyone's security, really. So basically,
it might be worth telling me that beforehand.
I can delete it if you like,
that's all right.
because
But you can share it with the people in your community. Because I actually want them to know.
I don't share these just for my own.
But I don't want violence on our streets. But that's where it's heading.
No, so brother Daniel. So basically,
and there was a mosque just down the road the other day. Yeah. I read in the newspaper they had extremists they caught right next to a university just down the road.
Brother Daniel. Now, I think.
But what do you think about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, now I think all your concerns, a large number of your concerns, they centre around the issue of integration. Now,
obviously.
So now basically,
you want to know why people voted against mass immigration in the Brexit vote?
Oh, sorry, brother. I just try and address your
part
points.
Of the concern.
I try and address.
And nobody's addressing it. The media, nobody is listening to the people. The Brexit vote was a civil war. That's what it was, effectively. We haven't had the violence, but if nothing changes, there will be violence, won't there?
I don't think. No.
Think about it.
Look, Islam is basically. It means. We believe in God. We believe in one God. That's so that have you ever read the Quran?
I've never read the Quran.
Okay.
But I've read up of people who have interpreted.
Oh, okay. So basically, Brother Daniel, we believe that the Quran is God's last revelation to the whole of mankind.
God-given words. God actually wrote it.
We believe that it's because, unlike the Holy Bible,
written by the disciples.
The Holy Bible now contains the stories of Jesus and so on and so forth, whereas the stories of Muhammad are contained in different books, whereas the Quran is just completely the word, nothing except for this is our own theology, Islamic theology. We believe it is the complete, the word of God. Now, we believe that everyone was born a Muslim, so when you were a child, we believe that you were a Muslim as well. Now
that's sending alarm bells in my head.
Let me finish. I've given you. One second, please, brother. Brother, one second. Because I've given you this. Please, let me just finish. I'll be very quick. Let me just finish my point. So now you have to actually understand what the word Muslim means. A Muslim is the Arabic word, and it means one who submits to God's will.
And
So
British people don't
no,
submit.
let me
I
finish,
will
brother.
never
You haven't
submit
given
to
me.
anybody.
You haven't given
I
me.
will never submit
please,
to God.
Give
I
me
will
the
never
opportunity
submit
to
to anybody.
Forgive me for interjecting, but please allow me just to finish this point. So a Muslim means, this is our theology. You may differ, and I totally understand if you differ with regards to the understanding. But give me the courtesy just to finish my point,
Sure.
and then I'll let you talk.
I'm quiet.
Then I'll let you
Go
talk.
on.
I'll let you talk for as long as you like. So basically, Islam teaches that every child is born a Muslim because it submits to God's will and it believes in God. And we believe that if you left that child alone to grow up and so on and so forth, it would continue believing in God and being a Muslim. But it's the environment which takes it away from Islam, because we believe all the prophets of God came, because there's only one God, Brother Daniel, and that one God sent so many messengers and prophets to every nation. We believe that Jesus was a Muslim, Moses was a Muslim, Noah, all the prophets, all the biblical prophets, they were all Muslims. They had the same message: worship God, believe in one God, and follow the prophets. Because brother, this life is a very transient life, and the eternal life is determined by the consequences of our how we live in this life. So if we are good and we believe in God, we acknowledge God in this life, then we will have eternal life.
It's like Christianity. I grew up a Roman Catholic. I used to go to the Roman Catholic Church. I don't believe in God anymore.
Why?
Because it is this imposition.
Why have you abandoned God?
Why have I abandoned God? The fact that you asked me this question now is singing alarm bells in my head. Why have I abandoned God? Sorry, God is an imposition. Enlightenment values in Britain, we don't believe in God. We believe in rationality and enlightenment values, and that everybody should come together under enlightenment values, treat everybody equally. Not the idea that there are kafir and non-believers and believers. The idea that we all brought up Muslim and then we all walked away from our religion and the environment poisoned us. That is a poisonous ideal, my friend. And that is the point. Now we have people like you and your community in our society who are pushing this idea, and Britain has come to a completely different conclusion to you. And you are slyly putting this line out, and it's dangerous, my friend, because it's dangerous not for me, it's for you and your community. When people wake up and see what you're doing, you should be very scared. Because, my friend, this is this land where people are brought up and families like your fathers have fought for freedom values, not for Sharia, not for religion, not for God, but for this country and for the people in this country and for their families. And at the moment, what you are trying to say to me is that, oh, we're all, deep down, we're all Islamic. No, friend, we are not all Islamic. You may think that.
Let me know when you
Islamic.
finish. Tell me when you finish, then I can reply, because I don't want to interject you. Because obviously you feel really strongly about you.
I feel very strongly
and I appreciate
about
that, and I'm thankful for that. Can I speak now? Thank you so much. So once again, thank you, Brother Daniel, for sharing your concerns and what you feel very strongly about. So, I mean, I would like to reply to that by saying that, your thoughts of me, interpreting what I've said, may not necessarily be what I believe. So that's the first thing.
So my interpretation may be wrong, yeah?
Correct,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Which is a human thing.
But
we all interpret things.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do my best in interpreting what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm extrapolating.
Do you think we could be friends, or do you think we have to be enemies?
No, I think we could be friends.
Okay.
But I think the problem is,
Yeah.
the problem isn't necessarily you individually. It's the
Right.
culture, my friend. It's the civilization. We now have, in our society, this sort of last 20 years, our politicians have seemed to think that multiculturalism is in itself a good thing. And I'm now thinking that in the next 10, 20 years or so...
Forgive me, brother. So, Brother Daniel...
The fact that we've had 5 terrorist attacks in 1 year.
So you're saying that multiculturalism is a bad thing, then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying it's inherently a bad thing. I think... See, this is the
I want to understand you.
No.
Yeah.
I want to explain it because I want you to understand me, just as you want me to understand you. I'm exactly the same.
Well,
as you
this is
are.
what outreach is all about. It's coming to some, it's coming to.
My friend, I understand.
It's coming to. I want to be your friend. I love you.
And I want you to be my friend. And I want you to. And I want our society.
I don't know.
This is the thing. I want our society to be orderly. I want our society to be one where it's cohesive, where we all believe in the same.
We're on the same page.
In the same first principles. And this is the problem. In the last 20 years or so, our country has walked away from its first principles, namely the first one, which was freedom of speech and the freedom to criticise religion. Over the past 20 years or so, that has become off the table. Why has it become off the table? Because the Islamic community, and this is the point, look at me with those eyes, the Islamic community are the ones who have gone on the attack saying, no, you can't criticise our religion, when every other...
Brother, forgive me, I'd have to disagree with you.
Charlie Hebdo.
Brother,
Charlie Hebdo.
brother,
Salman Rushdie,
okay.
the Salman Rushdie
brother,
protest and
Daniel.
violence and all the rest of it. This is happening
But
now.
this is the
and people
way-
are waking, and
brother,
people are
brother,
now...
forgive me.
Let me continue. Let me just finish my point.
Mate, finish
This is the
please.
point. People are now
Yeah.
waking up to it.
Yeah.
People are now in places like Bradford, Rotherham, Leeds,
Thank you,
Rochdale,
brother.
Rotherham, Cardiff, Devon, Scotland. People are waking up to it. The white working class
Let me know when
people,
you're finished.
I will do. I'll let you know. I'll let
acknowledging.
you know.
Okay.
People are now waking up to the implications of what's happened.
Thank you.
What's happened with freedom of speech and the right to criticise things. Because it's not just the right to criticise Islam, it's the right to criticise any other belief that people hold dear. So now you've got transgender rights and all the rest of it coming in our society. And people that dare to question them, they are automatically shut down as racist, bigoted, sexist and all the rest of it. That's the point. It's the implications of when you start banning free speech, all the big implications that happen from it. And now
Okay,
people are waking up.
I've got your point. Thank you so much. Can I reply now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't need to ask me every single time, my friend.
Okay,
I'm
because
sat
you know
here-
when I try and reply, you interject me. So forgive me. Okay, now. So basically, what you've seen, what you dislike, for example, Charlie Hebdo or Manchester, these people are
Did you just call me McKenna?
No, Manchester.
Manchester.
Yeah, these people are the scum of the people who commit terrorist acts in the name of Islam. Us Muslims, we consider them to be the scum of the earth. They are. So that's the first thing, yeah. Now the second thing is in the Quran.
way?
Now hang on, let me finish, please. So now in the Quran, because I'll tell you why. Because these people, they kill more Muslims than anyone else. They harm the image of Islam more than anyone else, and they are the most criminal-minded. They have nothing to do. They don't know anything about Islam. They have no Islamic qualifications or credentials to back up anything that they do. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, my brother, is that in the Quran it says there is no compulsion. Now this is a book which is 1500 years old, and in the Quran it says there is no compulsion in religion. You are free to believe whatever you want. Now you have to put that into context, brother, because 1500 years ago, societies were much more tribal. You had to believe in the religion or the beliefs of the society that you were growing up in. So when the Quran was revealed to Muhammad, this was revolutionary. This was absolutely revolutionary. Us as Muslims, we have no problem in anyone criticizing. We don't have problems with homosexuals. Homosexuality has existed in Muslim countries for hundreds of years, 500-600. You go to Indonesia, the most populated Muslim country in the world, and brother, please,
platitudes,
please,
but I
please.
don't believe you.
Well,
I don't
that's
believe that
fine. I respect
these-
you for that. That's absolutely fine, brother. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's Islam. That's what a Muslim is. Everyone has the freedom to choose.
What
But
happens if a
it's
girl-
the
what happens if a girl walks away from
my
her
brother.
family
But this is
and
what
walks
the
away from
media is
their religion?
pushing.
Can I ask you a question?
I haven't finished.
Answer
I haven't
it.
finished.
Answer
I haven't finished.
Answer it.
I
What
haven't
happened to the young girl?
I haven't finished.
Answer it.
I haven't finished.
Answer the question.
Okay, I will do. But let me finish though. So, but this is what the media is brainwashing the people to think. Oh, Muslims are against homosexuals. Muslims force religion people down people's
The
throats.
media are not doing that.
Yes, it
The,
is.
the media,
So look at-
the
but
media
you-
are pushing exactly the
How have you
opposite
come to
story,
your
my
conclusion?
friend.
How?
Because I sit and watch every morning. I listen to the Today programme. Every night I watch the 6 o'clock news. I watch the 7 o'clock news. I watch
But
ITV news. I watch every news at night. I'm a keen listener
my
to
dear
these
brother,
things.
my dear
friend.
brother. Only in the last 10 to 20 years has homosexuality
become on the table in Britain. In Britain, yeah, I know.
So what I'm saying to you, in the Muslim lands, it's been acceptable for many hundreds of years. It's been many hundreds of years.
How can you say that?
Because I'm telling you, I've been to Indonesia many times. I've seen homosexuals walking.
Into Indonesia, you're calling
Yeah.
Indonesia the hub of Islam. Is that-
Indonesia is the most populous Muslim country in the world.
Whereas the West is, I'd say, the pinnacle of liberal civilization. I wouldn't say South Africa is the pinnacle of
I
liberal
disagree with you.
civilization.
I disagree with you.
I wouldn't say
100%.
Indonesia is the
I-
hub of Islamic teachings and culture,
Why not?
is it?
Why not? Who says it's not?
Come on,
No, why not?
that's facetious.
Why not? Why not?
That's such a facetious argument.
No,
Where do you think the hub of Islam is?
where do I think it is?
Yeah.
The hub of Islam.
Where do
Well,
you-
Turkey was the
Turkey is one of them. Yeah.
Turkey was the Ottoman Empire for the last 700-800 years. Do you know?
Where do all
have you heard of
Muslims go?
someone
Where
called?
do all Muslims go?
Do you know?
Where
have
do
you-
all Muslims go?
have you heard
Where is it said in your Quran that all Muslims must go? Where should they go? It begins with an M.
know,
I'll give you a hint.
brother,
Begins with an M.
I've been
Ends
doing-
in an A. It's got two C's in it.
I-
MECCA.
Bro-
Mecca.
brother.
That's where you will end up going, isn't it?
I've been to. I lived in Saudi Arabia for a year.
Yeah.
I lived there.
How do they treat gays?
I'm a teacher.
How do they treat women?
I'm a
How do
teacher.
they treat normal people?
I lived there for a year.
Okay. Well, then you should know.
I lived
So
there for a
don't,
year.
so don't give me these platitudes about gay men being accepted in Islam. We know that's not true. And it's the same here in Britain, actually. Britain has only recently
I
come
disagree.
to the
Do you
agreement.
respect my right to
come
disagree?
here, come here, my friend. He wants to listen. I'm intrigued.
I listen to you. I'm homeless, alright? I've been Muslim and I changed my religion and I'm Christian now,
Dude,
alright?
I'm not Christian.
No, see, I wanna say about something. You know, when you don't reading Quran, alright, full of them, word to word, you can't understand what that's it.